How to Decolonize Brother Bear by Shannon Jerome, Princess Jinkton Colgrove, and Roberto Pacheco.
Disney is a company that reaches millions of children all over the world. Their movies are loved by the children of America and shape how we understand history and view other cultures. In our project, we want to revisit Disney's Brother Bear, released in 2003, using what we have learned about decolonized viewpoints and Native representation in films. After seeing harmful depictions of Native people in earlier films like Peter Pan, we wonder if Disney has improved their portrayal of Native people, or are settler colonial narratives still present in their children's movies. We often hear of movies such as Brother Bear throughout Native communities and amongst Native youth, being one of the few positive representations of Native people. It is important to share with our youth the background of these movies and beliefs, looking at them from a decolonial standpoint, searching for those deeper meanings and understandings. In looking at movies like Peter Pan versus Brother Bear, we are shown a different understanding of relationships, looking how they go far beyond person to person, but also having relationships with the land, environment, animals, etc. This shows the connection to place, as well as how this connection comes through traditional teachings passed down through generations of people. And looking at how Kenai did not understand the importance of the representation of the bear, but through the movie, we see his growth and development, seeing that he starts to understand the meaning of these relationships and these conflicts. This is also shown in the short film Pow, looking more at the relationships between people and how the young boy connected with his grandmother and her story, and how that story changed his outlook, making him appreciate his people, his culture, the ceremony. This also looks at how the grandmother's internal conflicts have kept her from connecting with her people, and we see that development through the film. Accurate portrayals of Indigenous people matter because American media erases Indigenous history and distorts it to justify settler colonial violence. Scholars like Julia Whitaker and Kilpatrick explain that stereotypes such as the bloodthirsty savage, the vanishing Indian, and the Indian princess reduce Native people to harmful characters instead of citizens of modern nations. Misrepresentation has led to many of the stereotypes that are inflicted on Native communities across the United States. These stereotypes have continued to harm Native communities as it creates unrealistic ideals around Native peoples, being violent, dumb, hypersexualized, and non-human. This is due to generations of internalized racism and settler colonialism.
In Peter Pan, racist characters of Native people are seen. The song What Makes the Red Man Red uses offensive language like Injun and squaw, mocks Native people with broken English, and invents a comical origin story for Native skin color, which erases and minimizes real Indigenous creation stories. The Native singers resemble offensive mascots, while women are sexualized or old and unattractive. Native ceremonial objects are not treated properly. These portrayals support the idea that Native people were less than, which has been used to justify settler colonial violence. The scene makes Native people out to be savage. Racist depictions are an intense abuse of Native people and their traditions, and are part of institutionalized racism that needs to be deconstructed if we are truly going to fight racism. The claim that natives were savage is part of the justification for what has happened to Indigenous people. Do these harmful stereotypes still occur in Disney movies? Unlike Peter Pan, Brother Bear avoids depicting Native people as savages. Instead, the film's conflict lies in the tension between humans and nature. Bears are not portrayed as villains. They have their own lives, which reflects Indigenous worldviews instead of mainstream ones. Brother Bear's strength is in its representation of Indigenous spirituality. The film includes the Great Spirit, totems, spiritual objects, the Northern Lights, and non-human relatives. Kenai's main teachings in the film are about responsibility, empathy, and love. The presence of elders in the totem ceremony at the beginning of Brother Bear shows how indigenous traditions are passed down through generations. We do not see evidence of the ecological Indian stereotype in Brother Bear. The character's connection to the land is the result of thousands of years of inhabiting the land, not magic. The film also resists the vanishing Indian stereotype by focusing mainly on family. Brother Bear is set in a Mastodon-era world which keeps native people back in time and does not have any mentions of the future. Brother Bear has many Western gender norms, with women in pink and men wearing blue and green clothing. And masculinity is very much tied to strength and becoming a man. Kenai's totem is represented by love, which is mocked by his brother, showing how Western ideas still influence the film.
This is the semi-true story of my very first powwow.
In contrasting Brother Bear,
music, dancing,
POW offers more
and that
authentic representations of Native people.
But of course, all I wanted to
Women
do
are
was
not
just
limited
sit
to
right
pink,
there on the bleachers,
and we see Indigenous
play
people
video games.
existing
And then this
in the present at a powwow, a modern social gathering. Decolonize viewing prioritizes Indigenous-led media, and POW shows Native people in a contemporary setting using technology, humor, and gives a glimpse of everyday Native life. The story also brings in Native traditions and history. Brother Bear does make notable improvements over earlier Disney films, and POW shows what is really possible when Indigenous people are involved in telling our own stories. Restricting Native control assumes non-Native creators can tell Native stories better, which is an idea that reinforces inequalities. Freiberg et al. Disney has included a Native consultant, an Inuit director, or Inuit narrator for Brother Bear, and the voice actor of Coda has Cuban heritage. Indigenous involvement increases the authenticity and quality of Brother Bear, but there is room for more Native voices. Disney remains a corporation that benefits from many settler colonial systems, and Disney films like Brother Bear do not show Native people in the future or present. This leaves the question if companies like Disney can fully escape settler colonial narratives. Why decolonize viewing matters. Damage from harmful misrepresentation goes beyond media portrayals. Negative ideas and limited portrayals influence how Native students are treated at school. Native students are suspended at twice the rate of white students and are less likely to be recommended for advanced classes. Decolonizing how we watch media helps us dismantle these harmful systems and pushes us to question the stories we are told and imagine a better future. Decolonized viewing helps us gain new perspectives in other parts of our lives, and part of decolonized viewing is resisting Native imagery of the past. Disney is responsible for many antiquated images of Native people that prevail today. Negative ideas and limited representations influence interactions between Native and non-Native students and contribute to Natives' disparate outcomes.
Brother Bear is a step in the right direction for Disney as far as representation of Native people, gender bias, and relationships with all living beings. This is a great improvement from the earlier portrayals of Native people, depicting the bloodthirsty savages, the vanishing Indian, and the Indian princess, which create these false interpretations of Indigenous people. These negative depictions of Native peoples and communities cured by institutional racism further promote racist agendas and justify the settler colonial violence inflicted on Native nations. We still see impacts of these stereotypes in modern media and movies. However, we're also seeing an increase in Native movie creators, directors, producers, writers, etc., promoting the true representation of Native peoples and belief systems. This provides a space for Indigenous voices. In looking at movies like POW, we see a glimpse of what it is like to be a modern-day Indian, showing that we are modern-day people too. This exposes viewers to a deeper understanding of Native peoples, communities, and environments, and the dynamics within these spaces, rather than exposing them to these harsh and untrue stereotypes. Brother Bear takes on a more traditional context in reflecting on respecting Native bodies, families, and spirituality, rather than the stereotypical red man we see in Peter Pan. In looking at movies like Peter Pan, Brother Bear, and POW from a decolonial viewing, it requires us to look deeper and really analyze these movies, questioning the old stereotypes and misrepresentations of Native people. When we look at these films and other media from this standpoint, furthering our own education and knowledge on Native history, we can truly lead to real change.
Miigwech Bizendawi Nungum, Baweni Sana, Gigawabamin.